SpaceX's Starship, and the Saturn V. Two revolutionary rockets, but one is about to make history by taking the first humans to the surface of Mars. Starship is a truly mind-blowing piece of engineering, but what actually lies inside? And how does this 390 feet rocket intend to ferry humans safely to the Red Planet and back? Let's see. The exterior. Starship currently stands to be a fully reusable rocket able to autonomously launch and land, with Elon Musk emphasizing reducing the overall cost of launch. The design of Starship is incredibly unique and dynamic, with its shiny outer exterior and extremely pointy cone, all of which are at the behest of Elon Musk himself. The billionaire had reportedly seen the movie The Dictator, where the main character ordered his engineers to make his rocket more pointy for the singular purpose of striking fear into the hearts of his enemies. Well, Musk was incredibly smitten by the movie and demanded Starship be made equally just as pointy, to which everybody at SpaceX laughed, but went along with it anyways. When asked in an interview with Joe Rogan if the more pointy spacecraft is a more aerodynamic option, Musk stated that it's actually worse to have a pointy rocket. But with the recent success of Starship's landing test, I guess we can say a pointy rocket is not something to be concerned with. Starship stands at a total of 394 feet in height and is made up of two stages. The upper stage is called the Starship, and the lower booster stage is called the Super Heavy. The booster stage. Now, the lower stage has been majorly involved in much of the testing that the rocket has embarked on over the years, however explosive most of the tests have been. It's fitted with 33 powerful Raptor engines, which will have a combined force able to lift more than 200,000 pounds of mass into low Earth orbit. These Raptor engines will help Starship break out of Earth's gravity and do so very efficiently. They are powered using a simple Methalox fuel, which again is an excellent choice by SpaceX. Not only is methane cheaper than conventional rocket fuel, it doesn't produce any soot, which could accumulate and cause problems. This is a major advantage for a rocket that is intended to be reused more than once. Also, it can be synthetically produced on Mars using a simple chemical process, but more on that later. SpaceX is currently still the only space agency with rockets that can launch and land autonomously on launch pads, with the Falcon 9 rocket completing dozens of such missions. The ability of Starship to launch and land safely has been the reason for the numerous tests carried out, and it would all be worth it for the first-time astronauts no longer needing to crash land into the ocean for landing. To this end, SpaceX engineers have devised a way for Starship to land safely by incorporating metal wings into the multi-million-dollar rocket. These wings are called flaps, and essentially what they do is, during re-entry into Earth's atmosphere, they're extended to create a form of drag, which, coupled with the thrusters, will slow the rocket's descent. This is called the Bell Flop maneuver and is frankly an ingenious way of dropping a 200,000-pound payload from space. These flaps are not powered by the inboard fuel, but use a separate pack of Tesla batteries, which can be recharged and effectively reduces the need for more fuel space. The interior. To create more space for the cargo bay and living area, engineers have placed the rocket's fuel tank just above the thrusters and right below the nose of the ship. Again, this choice for using liquid methane in combination with liquid oxygen is not just because it's cheaper and burns clean, but also because it's a lot more stable and can handle higher temperature fluctuations than conventional rocket fuel used by NASA. It's also incredibly convenient that methane can easily be produced on the surface of Mars with the discovery of ice on the Red Planet, but more on that later. But while testing the rocket's ability to launch and land safely is a top priority, another major factor is the passenger and cargo bay that will hold Starship's passengers and crew. The upper cone of the Starship will house the rocket's cargo bay, passenger cabins, viewing gallery, solar storm shelters, and an onboard gym for exercise. According to Elon Musk, the cabins will be fitted to house up to 100 passengers for each flight. Per Musk's statement, this number could very well be up to 300 if the cabin space were made to accommodate 3 to 4 persons. This, of course, would be considered for later trips, when the rocket has successfully completed enough trips. This upper cone area will also accommodate the storage ease where all the food, supplies, and essential equipment will be stored. The passengers and crew will share a common gym area where machines and equipment for exercise will be located. This is important to mitigate the effects of zero gravity, which the human body isn't built for. There will also be a gallery and viewing area fitted with reinforced glass to allow a view of space as the Starship travels through uncharted sections of our solar system. For the safety of the passengers and crew, Starship is fitted with dedicated solar storm shelters built with protective materials as protection from harmful solar storm radiation common in space. Life support. Essentials like water and oxygen will be recycled from liquid waste in a continuous cycle throughout each trip. And although this recycling process is available, there is the possibility of extracting water from the surface of Mars. This is made possible with the discovery of ice on the polar caps of the red planet, and with the use of a simple chemical method known as the Sabatier process. Ice will be converted to water and methane, from which oxygen can be spliced from the water molecules. This process is very important because not only can water be produced, but also methane as well. This means there will be less need to stock up on fuel for a round trip, since liquid methane can simply be produced on the surface of the red planet. This would make the possibility of having up to 300 persons per flight more feasible, since there would be more space available inside Starship. While this is all well and good, there have been concerns regarding how SpaceX intends to tackle the issue of life support on board Starship. Before we get into that, let's not forget that SpaceX is still the only private space agency to successfully take astronauts to the International Space Station on board the Crew Dragon in a total of 8 missions, with a current mission still underway. But while this fact may be true, critics have pointed out that a 4-man crewed flight that lasts less than 48 hours cannot be compared to a 100-man flight which would last several weeks and maybe months at a stretch. The question raised was how Starship aims to maintain life support for passengers and crew for the months-long trip to Mars. Issues with temperature fluctuations in deep space would not only affect the ship's internal guidance systems, but also its human cargo. SpaceX is yet to release details on how the water and oxygen recycling systems on board Starship will work and how well equipped the spacecraft will be to handle gas exchange. SpaceX undoubtedly has a plan to tackle these issues and would simply need to replicate the system on the Crew Dragon, but on a much larger and more complex scale for Starship. Musk himself has reiterated the fact that life support is a relatively less complex task compared to getting Starship to actually make the trip without going up in fiery explosions every time it touches down. Point-to-point transportation. But a trip to Mars is still far off into the future, and Starship is far from making any interplanetary trips just yet. But there are prospects for the rocket that are much closer and more feasible. One of these being that the Starship may be used for shorter trips than the Moon or Mars. SpaceX has revealed its plans to use Starship for more suborbital transportation, more on lines of space tourism and point-to-point transport. The company was recently awarded a $102 million contract for 5 years. The contract is built around the possibility of Starship being used as a cargo vessel, able to ferry up to 90 tons of military cargo to any location on the planet in under an hour. And although such supersonic flights have been met with criticism concerning atmospheric pollution and the toll on the human body, it remains a theory to be tested and proven. What do you think SpaceX will do first? The trip to the Moon or around the world in an hour? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and we'll see you in the next video.